I have been a journalist for more than 20 years now, which is a bit terrifying. I started at a tiny little paper, which no longer exists, on the outskirts of Melbourne, actually, called the Werribee Banner. The Werribee Banner was amazing. It was an amazing stomping ground. There was a lot of huge stories that were out there. Port Phillip Prison was built out there at the time that I started. So I ended up covering these huge, incredible stories. And within 18 months, I was offered a job at the ABC. So then I went to the ABC for nearly 14 years. And the ABC is quite incredible. You can do lots and lots of different roles. So I did presenting, reporting, producing, and I actually worked in lots of locations around Australia. In 2015, I was made redundant by the ABC and started freelancing to see what I wanted to do with my life. And actually, I loved freelancing. So really, I've been freelancing ever since then. And it's totally brilliant. I've just been able to do things I never would have been able to do otherwise. I've dug out a little hole for myself, which I call social justice journalism. And people always say to me, what does that mean? I actually made it up to describe the kind of journalism that I do. And the way that I describe it is, although I cover all these different kinds of topics, and I might cover them on TV, I might cover them on radio, and I might cover them in print or online, but I'm always asking these questions, which is, how can society be fairer and how do we treat each other? My work schedule is bonkers, I won't lie. I have 2 little children. I'm a single mum. I host a podcast. I write articles. I have a media training business. I wrote a best-selling book in 2019 called Troll Hunting about cyberhate. And since then, I've been really speaking around the world and around the country about cyberhate, sometimes to the media, sometimes in person.
On the cyberhate and trolling work and some of your other work as well, I gather you really throw yourself into these stories. You take a very, active involvement in them, which obviously I'm sure is difficult at times. But what are some of the positives or good experiences that come out of working in this way?
So investigative journalism is crucial to society. It's crucial to democracy. Without journalists holding power to account, we don't even know what we don't know. So I'm really passionate about telling stories that no one else is telling and digging right in there. But yes, as you suggest, it takes a very long time. Like some of the investigations I might work on might take up to 9 months. But the thing is, it's such an incredible privilege to talk to someone who has been through a harrowing life experience and wants to tell their story to make life better. For example, I did a huge investigation recently for news.com.au about child exploitation on the website Pornhub. And yes, it was harrowing to report. It was devastating. But I spoke to a young woman who had been a child victim and is now an advocate, and she'd really never spoken to the media before. And I just think it's such a privilege to gain the trust of someone like that, tell this big story and actually be part of change.
How do you source and, investigate these stories? What are some of your research techniques?
Look, a lot of it is just blood, sweat, and tears. Oftentimes now, because people know my work and I've been doing it so long, people will come to me. Social media does a lot of harm, and a lot of my cyber hate work is about that. But oftentimes you can make incredible connections and find people that you would never find otherwise on social media. Some of my research techniques are excruciating. Like I'm spending hours and hours and hours digging into things, reading academic papers, pre-interviewing experts so that I've got all the background. Like sometimes there'll be a pile of paper like that on my desk of various different sources to pull a story like that together. Or I might ask the Australian Bureau of Statistics for a data cube, which is like a huge file of data so that I can find the thing that I need. It's not easy. It's not quick. And oftentimes I think when people read something online on news.com.au, they don't understand that it's taken you, maybe a year to produce. You can see probably from my face, like I'm really passionate about it. And, that's the same with the podcast that I make and I host, Seriously Social. So I make it with a big team for the Academy of the Social Sciences in Australia. But it requires a lot of research. It's all based around academic research, usually people who are fellows at the Academy of the Social Sciences in Australia, but they're doing groundbreaking research and it's fascinating. People are becoming more and more addicted to podcasting. And I actually think that's an interesting reflection as well. Like, my current view is a lot of the most interesting journalism and reporting and storytelling is not being done on the mainstream platforms. Some of it is, but a lot of it isn't. And one of the things I love about podcasting is, like radio, you're very much in people's domestic spaces. So I think often about what are they doing when they're listening to my podcast? They're driving the car, they're going for a run, they're shouting at their children, and that's the space I'm in with them. So we're trying to tell compelling stories to a really smart audience. Podcasting is the new black. Like, someone like me is often listening to 4, 5, 6, 7 at a time when I'm doing other things. So whereas you might be tempted as a public relations person to always be pitching into traditional media, often podcasts have a huge audience in the very specific market that you're trying to reach, whether it's beauty or lifestyle or travel, and you can pitch into those markets directly and really talk to those audiences.
You've recently been appointed editor of Broad Agenda, so congratulations firstly. And can you please tell me a bit about the publication?
So thank you so much. I am so excited about this. So what Broad Agenda is Australia's leading research-based gender equality media platform. It's really almost like a newspaper around gender equality issues, but it's very much in the academic space. And it's based at the University of Canberra under the 50/50 Foundation. So I'm going to be working with the most incredible academics, journalists, professionals in this space. And I really do feel like this is the moment in terms of gender equality. Like, we've had this story break open in terms of Brittany Higgins's sexual assault allegations at Parliament House, another woman in that space as well who's been called Kate by the media. And then it's just bleeding out now. We're hearing more and more stories. So the public's attention is on this issue right now. So it's like a hot button issue. And I'm glad, because I think it's high time that women were equally represented in public life and private life as well, and that they were safe and that their voices were heard. And it very much crosses over with the work I'm doing in the cyberhate space as well, because what you see is women are disproportionately attacked online, especially journalists, politicians, athletes, those kind of roles, and they are driven out of their careers and driven off these public platforms. So I want to change that.